Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Monster Hunter World. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be going over my favorite list for top 5 dual blades. I get a lot of questions during streams and in videos of what are the best dual blades. Now, that really is going to be up to you and your playstyle, but I figured I'd go ahead and put together a video on my personal favorite top 5 dual blades. Now, if there is anyone out there who has another favorite dual blade or thinks that there should be something else on this list, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments, but these are my personal favorite, and it is definitely really comes down to what is your play style, and that's what you're going to really focus on. But at least this list will give you a good idea of different types of weapons that you should be using as dual blades if you're really just undecided. We'll get into my first weapon on the list, which is everyone's favorite weapon, the Decimation Claws. These things not only look amazing, but they are very, very good, especially against Elder Dragons. They've got 294 base attack, 0% affinity, which is good for such a high attack. A lot of these weapons with really high attack tend to have negative affinity, and these do not. And the high Elder Steel makes these a really good choice when going up against Elder Dragons like Teostra and Deora, as well as Nergigante. Now, as I mentioned, these do look absolutely amazing, and that's why they're a lot of everyone's favorite weapons. Not only are they good, but they look freaking cool too. Now we can go ahead and see here that they do quite a bit of damage. I don't have any food or anything like that. You can see that they do a pretty decent amount of base damage, and the crits on them can get pretty intense as well. I absolutely love these dual blades ever since I got them, and they are just a blast to use. Not only do they do a lot of damage, but you will also look like an absolute boss while using them, which is a lot of people's focus in some games, is just to look really, really cool. But these things are very good, and they should definitely be on your top 1 or 2 dual blades to be using in Monster Hunter World. Now, since these cannot get up to the white level of sharpness, you don't have to worry about handicraft or anything else, so they're a very versatile dual blades to be using with Monster Hunter, and you can really use them with any set that you desire, and you have a lot of leeway with how you want to run your equipment set. Now for the number 2 dual blades on the list, the Arkin Aria 3. This is a Rarity 6 weapon from the Kulu-Yaku tree, has 238 attack, and does have a blue level of sharpness. Now I have not been able to get this up to the white level of sharpness. If you are able to, you really are going to have to sacrifice a lot of other things in your build to do so, because you do have to unlock the sleep element using the free element ammo up skill armor skills, which you can get from the Kirin boots, which is I'm using, and these are a very good set of dual blades for a very specific reason. Now you can see you do get 3 augmentation slots with these, which is very nice, and you already have 20% affinity with these weapons, so you will be critting a lot. With most builds, you're going to be floating around about 90 to 100% affinity, which is pretty crazy. So you can go ahead and augment affinity on here if you so desire, or you can increase your attack, which would get you up pretty high if you stack 3 different attacks, but you can really mess around with this however you want. Unfortunately, these weapons do not come with a gem slot standard on it, so that is one downside to these, but these are good for a very specific reason, as I mentioned before, which we'll get into. Now these do have a decently high attack and affinity, so it makes them really good for farming, especially for things where you need to break something's head, because you can sleep bomb them very easy with the sleep element on there. Because the dual blades attack so fast, the sleep element really breaks through their resistances fairly quickly, and then you can go ahead and use mega bombs to actually help your efforts in breaking the head of the whatever target that you're hunting. And these can be really fun to use just to be able to put your target to sleep and then absolutely ruin its day by explodifying its face. It's pretty much the best thing ever, and it's just one of those builds that's kind of fun to use, especially when you're having a hard time harvesting those fangs or horns, because you can just put something to sleep and then blow up its face. Now, unfortunately, these do not look the best, but they definitely are very good to have in your arsenal, especially when farming for fangs and stuff, as I was saying. They're definitely not the strongest dual blades in the list, but it's definitely going to be good to have in your arsenal for certain situations. Now for my third favorite dual blades, the Fire and Ice Rarity 8 dual blades from the Black Steel tree. They come with a very high base attack of 252 with a base level of blue sharpness and 10% affinity. Now a lot of people don't like the dual element blades, but I absolutely love these, especially with how quick the dual blades attack. The blast resistance on monsters go by is really quick, and it is an absolute pun intended blast to see it go off in any of your combos. Now, as you can see, you can easily get up to a white tier of sharpness by using the Death Stench beta leggings, which we have in this particular set right here. And then you can also add a bunch of gems onto here to make this set using these dual blades absolutely insane. Now you'll see when we sharpen with these dual blades, with the handicraft and the protective polish, we're going to get a nice green highlight over our sharpness up there, and then we can go ahead and attack and just do an absolute crap ton of damage, which is really nice. And they are pretty darn close to the Decimation Claws when you are stacking the critical boost like this, which you can also do with the Decimation Claws. But since these have more slots on them, and an extra 2-slot gem, you can actually get a lot more out of this build than with some others, and the damage is just very, very good, and they look freaking amazing as well. Plus, you get the added bonus of the blast effect going off quite often on your target because of the amount of attacks that you're doing. Next up on the list are the Diablos Clubs 2. This is a Rarity 7 weapon from the Diablos tree with the highest attack you can get on dual blades. Now, the real bonus of these is going to be the non-elemental boost that you can get, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But these have 322 attack, blue level of sharpness. Now, they do have negative 10% affinity, but all in all, for all of the Diablos tree weapons, this has the least negative affinity of most of them, and negative 10% is easy to come back from, so that's really not that bad, especially because you do have 2 augmentation slots, which you can choose to use to augment affinity if you so desire. But the base attack on these are amazing, and then you get the additional bonus of defense bonus plus 15%. Now, the non-elemental damage is really, really good. You do not actually want to activate this for the ice damage. We're going to show you what we're going to do here. Now, to get the most out of your Diablos Clubs 2, you're going to need an Elementless Jewel, which raises your base attack for non-elemental weapons. Now, this only works if you do not unlock the ice element in the weapons, and I would behoove you to not unlock it because the non-elemental boost that you get from this is very, very good at about 8 to 10%, which is really amazing. On top of the 322 base attack of these weapons, it is absolutely insane. Now, unfortunately, these things kind of look ridiculous, but they are clubs, hence the name. But they do a ton of damage. These are the highest damage dual blades out of everything that you can get, and you are going to have a lot of fun on this. Now, they're very versatile because you don't have to worry about any elemental disadvantages, and you're going to have an absolute blast. Absolutely clubbing everything to death. Quite literally, they are a lot of fun. Now, last but certainly not least, the Basil Hawk Rook Slayer. These are the Rarity 8 dual blades from the Basil Geese tree, and they are very, very good. Now, they come with 280 base damage, a sharpness level tier blue. Now, they do have negative 10% affinity like the Diablos clubs, but you also have the 150 blast damage, and then you got a tier 1 gem slot. Now, you only have one augmentation, so you can get rid of that negative affinity if you so desire, but these are just an absolute, pun intended, blast to use. Now, with using Handicraft, you are able to get these weapons into the blue tier of sharpness, which is going to put your damage output about on par with the Diablos clubs, and then you're also going to get the added benefit of the Elemental Blast, which is just an absolute amazing thing to have. Now, these dual blades are one of my favorites. They look amazing, and they're just really fun to use, and you look like a boss doing it, especially when you're blowing everything up. Because of how often you're hitting with these, you're actually going to get your blast attack off more often than not, and it's just really nice to just absolutely blow things up. Now, I am using the lower tier Rook Slayers right now because I do not have the Beetlejuice gem to actually upgrade them. But you can see just with this lower tier version, we're still doing a bunch of damage as well as proccing the blast really easily as well. Now, let me know what you guys think of this list. It might not be everyone's favorite cup of tea, but I think it's a pretty darn good list to go from, and you're going to have a lot of fun with all of the weapons in this particular build. Now, if anybody has any favorite dual blades that they think should have been on the list or think I should go ahead and try, definitely leave them in the comments below. I know a lot of people love the Xeno Jiva blades as well, but I like the Decimation Claws over the Xeno Jiva claws, or they're not claws, but you know what I mean. And I didn't want to put 2 Dragon Elemental weapons in the list, so just keep that in mind. But I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you are new to the channel and you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. And if you didn't already, don't forget to share your support and smash that like button. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!